Hi everyone, it's Crystal from Crystal Creates Chronicles, and I have another scrapbook layout process video for you today. And I'm going to be using this 3x3 square pocket page of photos that we took on our day trip to Kemah. The inspiration behind the layout here is those funky murals that we found. It's this one place that we went to, and I'm going to use that to kind of incorporate my style that I'm going to use for this layout today. So I have those beautiful mess cards, 3x3 cards there that kind of had that funky vibe, as well as that burlap and some scraps that I pulled out from my stash. And I really wanted to add that funky feel with the texture here. So as you see, that burlap sheets, I plan on using that. And then I have these feather die cuts that I wanted to incorporate to this layout. And then also, as you can see there on my left-hand side, I have some ribbon that I wanted to incorporate too as well, because I kind of wanted this layout to have a lot of texture just to give that funkiness to it. So the design choice here is kind of intentional, so it will be looking a little haphazardly, I guess you can say, and maybe not so matchy-matchy in the design. So I'm going to start off by pulling out some ribbon here that I think might work, or actually, don't do that. I'm going to just show you the ribbon that I have stashed. But anyways, I'm going to arrange my card photos here that printed out, and I used my HP Sprocket photos to print these. And so I'm just kind of arranging here to see the feel of where the cards should go and which papers I should use as backing behind the photos. So I'm going to trim down some of these scraps here. I had to clean off some sticky tape off of that, the little plastic shield on my little small trimmer there, paper trimmer. But yeah, so I'm going to trim down this like beige brown, what is it called? Um, diagonal paper. Anyways, and I'm going to, like I said, kind of arrange here. I had this blue um it's I guess 3x4 card, and then also this one that says chill. It kind of matches those um sorry, my dogs are in the background. um that matched those cards with the little chairs on them. On this one, I didn't really want the word chill. I just kind of wanted that beige um background, so I'm gonna kind of be covering up that chill in that chair here with those photos. Again, like I said, I'm just kind of arranging where I want the cards to go, where I want the pictures to go, and trying to get a feel of where the different cards should uh, be in this layout. I also had this wood grain, like a brownish orange wood grain paper here that I wanted to incorporate as well, because also these murals were also painted on, a lot of them were painted on like a fence or a brick, or not brick, I'm sorry, wood style walls or fences. And it's all, most of these pictures are from a restaurant there in the Kemah area. And so, and then I also wanted to use that burlap sheets here, like I said, to give that texture and just give that kind of funky, rough feel that this place that we went to had. It's called the Voodoo Hut there in Kemah, and it's kind of has like this, I don't know how to describe it. It's like it's really funky. It just has like random stuff all over the place. It has that kind of piratey, voodoo-y um, nostalgia inside their decor inside their restaurant bar area. And I just really wanted to bring that out here in this layout. So I'm just gonna pull some of the fringes off here on this burlap to give it a little bit more fringe, and just kind of still figure out the placement here of these cards and which ones I wanted to use behind the the backs. So sorry about that if you heard my dogs. Guess they want to be part of the video as well. So yeah, I think I kind of figure out, I just have that one bottom one there in the left hand that just needs some cards behind it. So I'm going to kind of pull out some of my 3x3 cards here to see if there was anything else that could work. I knew I wanted to kind of more incorporate some of that blue like I have behind those crawfish picture there. And so I'm just going to kind of quickly go through my stash of little Project Life cards here to see if there's anything else that would work. And so and I found this one that had a little heart on it, and I liked that blue, kind of pulled that blue from those chairs up there on the top. And so I'm just going to trim that down to match the size here of these pocket squares to that 3x3. Again, it's not more of I wanting the heart. I was just more of the color that I can use for layering there. Now I'm just going to now I figured out the placement. I'm going to go ahead and start building each of these pockets. And the first is, like I said, I want to incorporate some of my ribbon into this layout, again, for that texture. So I found this blue ribbon scrap that I had to kind of go on that polka dotted card, just to give some more color to that black and white card. As well, I have those chipboard stickers, and just to add some more layering to that card. Now you'll see in this layout, I kind of do jump all over the place. I think it just kind of goes with the whole style of this page, just in the creating of it, it just whatever would go kind of thing would fit on a card or on a pocket square. So the nice thing about those HP Sprocket photos is that they are having sticky back, so it makes it easier and not having to always have to glue them down. I can just peel out the back and just stick them down. So as you can see, I'm just kind of going around and like trying to figure out what else I can put on here. I mean, you may notice I had that, what is it, the flower there onto that burlap sheet. I found that when I was actually going through my ribbons and pulling out which ribbons I wanted to use. And again, I wanted to use these die cut feathers that I had got purchased, and also just to give kind of that more of a flat texture and just that funkiness of some layering here into each of these pockets. And typically when I do scrapbook, I do tend to scrapbook to more of the design of the photos kind of thing, and like I don't I feel like this one was just more random stuff, which kind of goes with what it was. And like I don't normally do that. So it was kind of a little bit outside of my normal comfort zone, which was also actually kind of freeing in making this layout because it was just randomly throwing things on the page. So anyways, I put down those little burlap heart there stickers, chipboard stickers there. I had this little die cut of a heart here that I'm kind of using a pop dot to glue down, as well as some glue to attach it to the burlap heart to add some more layering. And then you may notice I kind of found that Moments um, chipboard, or not chipboard, die cut, and then I had this little scallops in here. And I'm trying to figure out the ribbon where I want to place it, but then I saw I had some more feathers, and like it's just like randomness of whatever I felt like would work. So I'm going to glue down this little feather behind that flower, which I'm trying to get my glue to come out, and then I kind of do put it off to the side because the glue kind of did go through the burlap there. So it's just going to sit off there for the side for a while until it dries, as I go around on here and just start randomly placing things. I found that green polka dotted strip there, and I kind of matched the green that's over there in those leaves. Again, trying to see where I can incorporate some of the ribbon here. I think in the end, I didn't end up using a lot of the ribbon because some of it just was too bulky for these small squares. Um, so yeah. Anyways, just going around trying to figure out what feels right in each of these pockets, squares, kind of just glowing, also going around and sticking down the pictures. So I'm going to work on that center one there with if you can kind of tell, the skeleton mural. And I found those because you use some more of that chipboard, burlap stickers, I'm sorry. Again, trying to figure out where if I can incorporate some of this ribbon, seeing how it looks. I kind of wanted to add some more, but I didn't want to do it the same way that I had done it up there in that top square with polka dots. looking at those chipboard stickers, see if any of them would work for this layout. So I think I end up going towards this polka dot here. I was like, how can I incorporate this in here? Just going around and seeing what I felt like would work. Um, and I think I kind of also pull up my stamps here to see. I knew I wanted to add some stamping. That's kind of where I was going to because I couldn't feel like anything worked. So I'm gonna just quickly go through my stamps here and see, pull out some stamps that would work for me. I know with that polka dot, maybe I could do make a label with it, that polka dot piece of paper. So I'm going to quickly go through my stamps here and see which ones will work. And I'm going to pull them to the side. And I just pull up that one. I like that one that's up there. I just pulled up to the top, has the small moments. And then there's another one I'm going to pull out in a moment. Here, I believe it had to do with, can't remember now, top of my head. Anyways, just kind of going through and see if any of them will work for what I want to do. And I'm just going to pull them up to the side there. I was like trying to find ones that would kind of go with what's saying there. I like this one. I pulled out Kelly Perky one that says, "We ate this" for the crawfish. And then I'm going to pull out another one that says, "A little tiny adventures begin." Um, just reading through some of them, what they say, the stamps, the phrases, if any of them would work. I think that was the one that has the tiny adventure awaits or something like that. And just keep flipping through to see if there's any of these lovely stamps that I have from Kelly. I think a lot of them are old Kelly Perky stamps. Anyways, so I know I'm going to do that. I'm going to, because I was thinking also, because I had just done the embossing the other time, last layout that I think I did on here, and I was really liked how it came out, just with that raised texture of more of the embossing instead of just a stamp. So I know also, I think at this point, I'm like, oh, why don't I, to make this moments die cut to stand out, why don't I add some inking to the edges here? And so while I was doing that, I saw my little brads or buttons right there. So I pulled those aside. Maybe I can add some of those in. Really just kind of going through my stash right now and seeing what else could I incorporate it. So I'm gonna use some of this distress ink to ink the edge here of this moments just to give it, get some more dimension and make it pop a little bit more onto that orange card. As well as I am going to pop dot it. And I'm like, where did I put my pop dots? My desk was such a mess at this point. I think I was getting a little overwhelmed with stuff. I also pulled out some labels here, thinking they could work. Yeah, it's just all over. So I'm going to use like this little blue label here to kind of add to that picture here with the skeletons. And these are photos, like I said, from when my husband and I went to the voodoo hut with my sister-in-law. And there's some of them are the ones he took and I took. And I don't know, these were my favorite ones from that place. And they have so many all over their facilities, their location. Um, it's just a really unique place. Sorry, my head's getting in the way there, trying to adjust that label to fit perfectly on there. Again, doing the layering to give it some dimension and onto those little bitty cards. It was a bit of a challenge with this one because those little cards are so tiny, the 3x3s, trying to fit what I wanted to in there. Then I found my pop dots, pop dotting, putting them behind there on that moments card for there, thinking about maybe I could add some more layering there. So you see in this layout, I'm just doing a lot of testing to see what will work, what feels right, and making kind of things as quirky as I can in this layout. Like I said, nothing had to be like matchy, perfect. I wanted to, like I said, I'm going to pull out these stamps. And I know I wanted to add this small moments stamp and trying to figure out where I want it. I either wanted it on that green leaf card or on that little orange card down the bottom. And then I think I ended up deciding there that I like those tiny moments. Again, sorry, my dog was barking, and so sorry if y'all can hear him. I guess he wants to be part of the voiceover. But going back to that green feather card, I knew that I kind of wanted to maybe do my journaling on that one. So another tiny moments can kind of be the intro to the journaling. So I knew, like I said, I knew I wanted to stamp on that green polka dotted card or strip of paper there to kind of add it to as a label. So I'm going to do that. We ate this on there and add it, trim it out, and then add that to the layers there on that pocket with the crawfish picture. And I'm going to, I wanted to add some more to this scallop to give it a little bit more detail. So I'm going to do a little outline doodle here on this one. Like I said, because it was just felt a little blah, boring and for this layout, and just adding that little doodle gave it that extra like funkiness to this page. um, so I'm just going to kind of stick down that photo of the crawfish and trying to line it up nicely on there and having to trim off some excess photo. And then I am going to pop dot, I believe, if I can find them again, pop dot that we ate this in here and ink the edges just to give it again some more shadowy dimension effect. And I think that's pretty much done the labeling there. I'm sorry this camera is shaking. I guess I kept hitting the table or the camera. Um, yeah, so I'm kind of just fiddling around. I saw that green, some more of the extra green, and I figured let's add it and use that up and add it to some more of the layers here to just pop in more of that green throughout this layout. So you can see I'm just going to trim off little pieces, ink the edges, and kind of just add it to some of the layering behind the photos here, like I did at this top one of my husband sitting in this big Kemah chair. And I want to add some, I believe I add some to that bottom photo there and that blue, just to give some more layering to each of these little different cards. And I'm going to add a feather as well to give some more layering depth on that card. So just trying to figure out which feather I like the best. I didn't want one that was, I wanted one, I chose one, why I chose the feather is I had more of the diagonal or the pointy edges, I guess you can say, not more rounded. It had a little bit more point to it than the rounded ones that are there at the top and the top of my screen. So yeah, just kind of trimming things up and adding some more of those burlap little stickers, the hearts, and then adding to see if there's any more embellishments that I can use. And I believe in a moment here, I'm going to clean up this desk because I was getting to the point where it's like, I don't even know where stuff's at anymore. Again, trying to see if I can add any more ribbon to this layout or some more. Really, every time I am doing a layout, I'm trying to challenge myself to use a different material or trying to do a different technique just to change it up so my layouts and my album are cohesive, but at the same time they have a little bit everything different, something different in them. And yeah, so again, pulling out these labels to see if there's anything else more that I can add. So I'm going to add one down here to that bottom card, just to ink the edges, give it again some more dimensions to those behind the photos, just so they're just not on the card. So just gonna, and when I saw this one, this label here, I knew at one point I am going to add the date stamp to it. So when I laid it on this card, I knew eventually I wanted to, I laid it there in mind of wanting to add the date stamp when I get to when I pull out my date stamp later. So yes, I'm going to glue that one down. And I believe debating on what I want to add some more. Do I want to add another heart, sticker, burlap? add the one up there to the top. And eventually, I don't know if it's now, but I do realize that I'm missing a photo, and you'll see it pop up later on. Excuse me, into the screen. So I'm using, as you can see, I kind of cleaned up my desk at this point. Um, I'm using some of those scraps that I had trimmed off from that card originally when I cut down that blue card down the bottom. Again, just adding some more depth and layering behind these photos so they're just not um, just the photo and the card behind it. I'm going to look through here through my buttons and brads kind of things, badges, whatever they're called, to see if I could incorporate any of these. I don't think I end up adding any of them. I didn't feel like any of them worked. Maybe that'll be another challenge for myself later on, is to try to incorporate these more. I used to use them a lot when I scrapbooked many years ago. But I don't know, lately I just feel like I can't get them to work into my layouts. Um, so yeah, just like fussing around trying to see what will work. And now I'm going to, since I cleaned up my desk, I wanted to do some of my embossing, just pulling out a little scrap paper there to kind of catch the embossing powder. And grabbing my embossing. I don't know, since I did the embossing the last time, I'm really loving it. Like I said, I love the how it just gives that little raised texture to the stamping instead of just being so flat. And just like I said, I'm going to stamp that says, I believe it says tiny moments, or tiny adventure awaits. And like it worked perfectly for this layout. The wording here, it was a little tiny moment, a fun day trip that we took. It wasn't a big grand adventure, but I do like to incorporate phrases or sayings that go with the the day or the whatever I'm scrapbooking. I'm not one to put just random words that I don't think have any meaning, that could relate to later on when I do the journaling or to what the event is. Since I don't typically do uh, pocket pages, but I don't do it in the sense of project life. I think sometimes that makes it a little bit of a challenge when scrapbooking, because I feel like some of the stamp phrases and stickers are a little bit more geared to project life kind of styles. But anyways, so I try to use them the best I can and figure out ways to use them in more unique ways. And that's a whole part about being creative and doing the creative process here. So just kind of cleaning up the scraps of the embossing powder, and I'm going to quickly heat these two cards up. So, oh my gosh, I can't believe I kept hitting kept hitting the camera tripod so much. Um, Anyways, and yeah, again, like I said in the last video that I made, my husband was there in the room. I would ask him at times, "What do you think about this? What do you think about this?" Like, I love his little input in my layouts. It's kind of made a renewed um, feel or funness to making layouts and scrapbook pages again, since I've just kind of gone back into it again after not scrapbooking for so many years. Again, or here's when I was talking about, I knew there was missing a photo, and it was the steps to the restaurant, the Voodoo Hut, and it worked perfectly for that card with the um, wood grain. Now I'm just going to add my journaling here and talk about how it was a day trip with my sister-in-law and my husband, Kemah, and how we came across the Voodoo Hut here, this funky restaurant that um, was just a unique find. I really liked the place. Um, it kind of, because Kemah is there on here. If you're not familiar with the Houston area, it is off the kind of our coast and the Bay Area. So it has that sea feel, and that the Voodoo Hut is just a cool place that has that kind of piratey, seafaring kind of feel to it. Adding my date stamp here, and I think, oh, the title. So if you haven't guessed it already, the title is called Funky Flavors. And so I'm just looking through my thicker letters here to see if there's the letters that would work. I knew I wanted funky to be in bigger letters, and then use flavors in a little bit smaller font. So I'm going to use these thicker cards that I recently purchased. I know I've said in my past layouts that I was trying to use up all my stuff that I have from and not buy anything new, but I caved and went onto Amazon and bought some new things. Um, Trying to find things that are more on sale and not spending outrageous prices. So if anybody can recommend some great websites or places that I can purchase more things, I know about scrapbooking.com. I don't know other, like, if anybody else is like that. I'm just not big on paying shipping and handling. But anyways, so yeah, any recommendations on any kits or anything? I know a lot of the places that I used to buy stuff many years ago or kind of don't exist anymore, or they've changed their what they sell. So just I found these little, I think these were from a Studio Calico kit. Yes, I see the Studio Calico. Um, Years ago, I liked these stickers. They were flat, and I'm just gonna spell out flavors. I'm gonna have to move them around a little bit in a moment because flavors wasn't gonna fit. So I'm gonna kind of overlap them in a moment here. As you can see, here we go. Just so I could get flavors to fit. I do now that I've looked at this layout afterwards, and I might go back and do this now, is I might move the funky flavor alignment to the bottom of the card. I might see if that will work better. I look at it now and I'm like, I like it, but I think it could be, I think the alignment of the title could be moved down. So let me know what you think, if it's something I should do. But yeah, this is pretty much it on this layout. I'm just going to stick them here in the little pockets, trim down a few of them that don't quite fit nicely in here. And this will be pretty much this layout. Like I've alluded to here, is that this layout has a bunch of funkiness. It doesn't match so much, but it was intentionally designed to have that chaotic feel. Um, the embellishments, the whole textures and the whole colors and the freedom of this layout just made it a lot more fun to do. And but I think like I said, the photos um, guided me towards this style and this layout. Um, it just, matches that mood and that messiness of that place. And the same thing in the whole creative process of this layout was kind of a little all over the place. Um, but I really enjoyed making this layout, and I I look at it now and I'm like, it's not in like my normal typical style. Like, it is, but it isn't. It's just like it's a little wild, but at the same time, like, it goes. So I don't know. Let me know what you think and how you feel about it as well. Like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. See you next time.